Hey everybody, happy summer. This is Mike. This is the Michael W. Hall channel. And gosh, I just got back from a vacation, so I am tired but relaxed, but I'm ready to go. So back in the studio teaching today. I was teaching a lesson and thought, let's do another tutorial. And kind of a brief one, so we're going to condense how to use technical exercises to your advantage. Now we talk about in the RCM, the Royal Conservatory Development Program, about synthesizing all kinds of information. You always hear people say, talking about the basics. Well, how can I talk about that without being trite? Well, I'm going to tell you how to use it. Here you go. So, basically, we want to take the scales and arpeggios and show the direct application not only in the music, but how to get your fingers working really well and precisely what to do. So let's take, first of all, I'm going to use level 6 arpeggios because that's a good substantial level and it'll apply to those moving on to higher and those who are not quite there yet. The first arpeggio in the series, number 1, they name them by what the arpeggio does. So as you know in the exam, the examiner will have you, he'll say, okay, play the PI, MI pattern. So you are using muscle memory. A lot of times people say, well, don't rely just on muscle memory. Well, true, when you're learning repertoire. In my opinion, I think we should memorize the arpeggios and scales faster than we do. The music, kind of take our time, process it, but the arpeggios and scales are not exactly the same every measure, but they build upon each other. Some of them are repeats of previous material, some are more octaves, different fingerings. In the upper levels they let you do your own logical fingerings to some degree, but I feel like in the arpeggios, the right hand studies, we're using the Giuliani studies, and basically it's 2 chords, the tonic and the dominant, and some variations of that. But while some patterns get more complex, let's just memorize them, because the examiner is going to say something like, instead of saying arpeggio 3 at level 6, he'll say play the ascending and descending sextuplet pattern. So, and then you'll go, and so forth. But your muscle memory is going to serve you well, because most of the time you are playing thumb on one of the wound strings, 6, 5, 4. You're playing the I finger on 3rd string, middle on 2nd, the ring finger on the 1st. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of the time. So that's a way you can memorize. Practical application. If you're memorized these, then you can concentrate on the fingerings. This is not about reading music. Not these. And I don't think the scales are to a large degree either. There are some things we can use those for, and I'll tell you that in a minute. But so we're playing the tonic and dominant chord here, and some inversions. So take that sextuplet pattern. Now I'm going to play. You see how my thumb is alternating bass notes. So I'm going to plant the thumb, and immediately we're going to plant the I finger, and then the M. Sequential planting, planting in a sequence. So you're playing one finger at a time, but there's never a spot where you're in the air swinging at a string, swinging blindly or wildly. So your fingers are prepared. You can do somewhat of an isolated full plant where all the fingers are down. The sequential plant is ultimately better, because, well, you're going to be in motion a lot, and you want your fingers to be free but near the strings, so that you have this automatic, this automated involuntary motion. It makes the playing easy. It just flows. So now I'm not concerned with memorizing, of reading the music. I'm memorizing using muscle memory. I'm planting, which enables my fingers to go where I want them to go automatically. And then you have others, like the descending and ascending sextuplet pattern. For some reason that's more difficult, and I think it's because you have this I finger in the middle, and it's hard to emphasize that. When you aim for the top, the first string, A finger on a second triplet, so to speak, within the sextuplet, it's easier to emphasize. So you can practice them in a way like they're two triplets, but I want you to also do this. I want you to feel like it's what it is. The sextuplet, it's 6, borrowed division at 6 in the space of 4 16th notes. So those are a few ways to practice that. Also, you can treat it, now this is in 4/4 time, all of these in common time. So you can also try this. Strong, weak, medium, weak, now, I tried to, show you the meter there. Strong, weak, medium, weak. Not obvious accents, but just a way to feel the pulse. And also, at the end, a retard to practice the musicality. You can do all kinds of things with these. Now, getting to scales. I was teaching someone this today. A couple things really quickly. There's a lot to do with technique. There's a lot to do with the working on the metronome and working on different combinations of fingers and patterns and tremolandos, all sorts of things. So I'm going to start with arpeggio 5, the PAMI tremolo pattern, because that enables you and the thumb, it's a good exercise for the thumb too, because you're playing so many strings. I start with that, as I mentioned, scales, because there's a technique where you play multiple notes on one note. It's called a tremolando. So various free strokes, rest strokes, 16th notes, triplets, and combinations. I'm playing all I and M there, but we do I and A, M and A. Now, with the scales, sometimes you have repeats from previous levels. Sometimes it's just an added octave, sometimes just a different position, a different fingering. And then shapes that are similar. So we have the B major that's in first position. We start on the 5th string. I'm sorry. It's got the same exact shifts as the D major at level 5. Same exact shifts. Some of you who are online in other cities, or we've been forced to do COVID, I wanted to do this video especially for you so you could hear very plainly and just kind of, not have to worry about playing for me or us, whatever, interrupting each other or trading ideas. So you can just listen and enjoy it. So that scale, shape, form is showing up again. That's really nice. The C sharp minor harmonic and melodic. It's got that couple of shifts in it where you have to pivot on a finger. That's the same shape as the B flat and B minor from level 5. So your C sharp minor, melodic and harmonics, and there are a few more in here, D sharp minor and D minor. Same exact shape as that one, so that's really great. You can tell I'm excited about that. That's really cool. You're able to play a scale from the 1st finger and also play it from the 4th. Where is that? watch that. C sharp to D, frets are right next to each other, but it's finger 1 to finger 3. But we've done that before. So anyway, we're finding some common shapes. The B flat major scale. 2 octaves, 5th position, 2nd finger. Follow the fingering. We did that on A flat, G. You have it on F sharp major here. The F major is a little different because you have an open string. So musically it's not different, but fingering it is. That goes for chords. You have common shapes, are going to be the same. Watch out for chords with open strings though. So you run into the cadences of similar things you've seen before. So I hope this helps. We'll do more in lesson, but one last thing. On the scales in thirds and sixes, we have the C major in thirds, and this one, the bottom notes is where the tonic, the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C is. Then you have the thirds on top. Same with A minor harmonic, we have, and then the thirds on top. Then they switch them. C major in sixths, where what would be the third is now the low E on the bottom, and here's your C. And then A minor harmonic, you have the, and then the thirds, or the sixths on the bottom here. Oops. So it's really cool. Now the cool thing about that is, and this ties into theory, and I'm trying to hurry here, I got a minute. With theory, you can always figure out the intervals. A couple of things. In a major scale, the root, or the tonic, to any other note besides the unison, 4th, 5th, and octave, those are perfect. The perfect 1, per 4th, per 5th, tonic, subdominant, dominant, and then your perfect 8th, your octave. They're all perfect intervals. But the C to D is a major 2nd, C to E is a major 3rd, C to A is a major 6th, C to 7, C to B is a major 7th, the leading tone. Leading tone. Another thing too, when you go up the scales, let's say C to E is a major 3rd. Well, the second note to the 4th note of the scale, that's in 3rd. D to F, that's a major minor 3rd, because of your steps and half steps involved. Your steps and half steps. So I hope that helps. We'll talk more later. Take care.